Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and I hope that you've all recovered from Friday's blog post, because today we have a little bit of a doozy for us today, and that's going to be the Spy Games event Milestone Math. And this one here is going to be, it's going to be one of the more convoluted and more complicated ones that I've had to cover in recent months even. So I'm going to do my best to kind of go over everything, and hopefully by the end of this you guys understand how you need to get there and what you need to do in order to get, especially to the event item, because I think that's some of the most important stuff. And also where you can sort of make shortcuts, because there's actually a fair bit of amount of total points available, but it depends on what you're willing to do, because there's 3 components to this event. You don't have to fully max all 3 portions of it, but each of them are going to contribute differently, and hopefully with the math you'll understand what you need to do. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Oh, I was wondering when it was going to appear. So I did this yesterday on my Power Core video, but I'm just going to do this once again very quickly here. Quick rundown of the subtotal. You can just pause the video if you want to take a look at my chart. But basically, this is my November subtotal for the First Panther, Black Panther 1M monthly milestone. And so here you can see all of the points written down. And what's important is when you add this all up, what we get to. And I said this in the video the other day, but we're actually not at 500k yet. And so I don't know if that means that we're going to have more things coming that are going to add to that, because currently we're a little bit away from getting that 500k total if you've done everything in the events so far. And I do know that I'm also adding in week 4's event, which we're not there yet. But we have all the other information. So we had a free claim Friday this past Friday, and that was valued at $37.50. So there's a good possibility that we might get another $37.50, or we might just get some random, currency here and there over the next 2 weeks. But we are a little bit short as this recording. So we're going to jump in to Spy Games. And I want to go really quickly, and this is, of course, where the information is. When I did my blog post on Friday, the Spy Games image was a bit incorrect. So after that, I did DM on Discord Community Manager Archangel, and he had that updated. So if you watched my blog video and you wondered why the image doesn't look the same as the ones that you saw versus the one in my video, that's why. It's because it was updated later on. So here we are, and let's move on over to Spy Games. So this is the main milestone, and this is really important to understand, because this is going to be some of the most important stuff for this event. Going to try to run down this, bit by bit here. So there's a total amount of milestone points of 150,000. Now, very quickly, I want to show you what do you get for that 150,000. We're going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to see if we can actually see through there. The most important thing here is this 58,500. So that's going to give you the 5,000 vibranium meteorites, but it's also going to give you the razor sharp claws, which is the event item that you're going to need. Let's zoom out one, actually. And there are other items below that. There are the 5 red Black Panther at 70,000. But after that, it's typical what I would call whale stones. They're not all whale stones as such, but what you get for it's not really crazy. You're getting like some ions, some ISO stuff, some armory orbs, not many, and then some like teal and SBC, like orange and teal catalyst stuff. And then if you go really far down, which is 117,000 and below, my head's in the way a little bit here, then you get like some more minis, I guess. But I wouldn't say it's super important, and it's not worth going down all the way. And at the very end, I don't think you're going to get there, but you get 200,000 blue 4 ions, you get elite 5 orb, and it's just the value of these items compared to what you would have to do or spend to get there just really isn't worth it these days. So, here's the main points, is that you either need to get to 58.5, or you need to get to 70,000 if you want the 5 red Black Panther, the OG, which is reasonable, and you can get there. The total amount of points that I think are reasonable is here. So you're going to get 45,000 points from the Dead Drop milestone. That's the covert orb frag farming For the Nakia event, I want to be clear that in this video, we're going to be doing some shortcuts. I did all the math in terms of the fragment farming. You're going to have to trust me on this one. And then on Monday, tomorrow, I'm going to be revealing the actual Nakia event campaign in more detail as far as, how many fragments you can farm over the full 15 days. Because her event is 15 days, like all the other event campaigns. And I want to go over the math specific to whether or not you want to get a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. I do that for other characters. And so that's going to be in more detail there. But that's where I got the numbers for the dead drop milestone in order to be able to farm the fragments over 7 days. I basically took the total amount of fragments that you would farm over 15 days, but I just cut it in half, essentially, for 7 days rather than 15. So there's 30,000 milestone points from the sleeper agent milestone. That's going to be the blitzing stuff. It's bad, but the good news is that you don't need to do that necessarily if you do some of this other stuff. And if you watched my video the other day about power cores, it's so important that you use power cores to some degree to get some progress on this. So where are you going to get power core? What are you going to use your power cores for? Well, just spending power cores is going to get you points. You could spend that on campaign energy for the Nakia event campaign. So you're kind of double dipping. You're getting the energy, which will give you fragments for the dead drop milestone, and you'll get just solid points for doing the spending cores. You get 10 points per 1 core, and you can also spend on campaign energy if you so want as well. So I've kind of laid out a few scenarios here. This is if you do 200 cores daily. This could be 200 cores in Nakia's event campaign. It could be for energy, and that's going to give you 14,000 points. If you do 400 daily, that could be, say, 200 in your regular campaign energy and 200 in Nakia's event. That's going to be 400 daily. If you can sustain that, of course, over 7 days, which is about 2,800 cores total, that'll give you about 28,000 points. And you could go a bit further if you really have the, I don't think you need to, but if you do want to go further, or say, for example, Dark Beast does show up and you want to pull for him, which I may do, then, the sky's the limit, right? Depending on how many cores that you have. So just take that number, times it by 10, however many orbs you end up spending, and then boom. And then you won't have to do any of the other things, essentially. For a quick example, if you need 58,500 for the event item, you divide this by 10. If you spend like 5850 cores, you'll get the event item. So you could just completely ignore the other 2 parts of the event. However, if you're not doing that and you want to do it the regular way, you basically have 45,000, 75,000, you add these two together, plus, however many cores that you're willing to spend. I mean, I would say that some people do about 400 daily. So 28,000 plus 45 plus 30, that's about 103,000. You only need 58,500 for the event item. So you can see that there's a lot of wiggle room. And so that means either you don't need to farm as hardcore on the covert orb fragments when we get to it down below, or you don't need to blitz as crazy, as we'll also get down below. There's some wiggle space depending on what you want to do. So it's broken up into 3 parts. Orb fragment farming from Nakia's event, blitzing, and then spending power cores. So you have 3 options in how to get points for this. You need a combination to get you to that line, that 58.5 or the 70,000. Okay, so the dead drop milestone, this is the opening covert orbs. So this is from Nakia's event campaign. This is 80,000 milestone points. Now you get 45,000 spy game points. You're literally just doing a milestone to funnel points into another milestone. It's super dumb. It's even worse next week when we talk about the Claws of Fury event, when they have Nakia's rings, which are essentially milestone points that they're just using an item for. It makes 0 sense. The last 14,000 milestone points are a little bit hard to get. Realistically, I think you'll probably walk away with like 25 to 30,000 milestone points from this, unless you're coring super heavy in Nakia's event and you're farming heroic. There's going to be 2 scenarios here, one if you're farming heroic and one if you're farming hard mode. Keep in mind that hard mode requires Nakia unlocked, and then you have 4 other characters. Heroic mode requires the War Dogs. So as far as I'm aware, you need all 5 of them unlocked. You should have Black Panther Stone Age unlocked now, free to play. I unlocked him actually, so you will just need to gear him up to like gear 12, 65. Same with Nakia when you unlock her on Monday, and gear her up and then use that team for heroic to start doing that if you want to. You get 2,000 points for covert orbs. Okay, pretty simple. So you just need enough to open an orb. It's in the past, there was points per fragment rather than opening the orb, but it seems that they've gone back to opening the orb itself. So if you want to clear the milestone, which I don't think most people are going to do, you do need 40 of these orbs. What's reasonable, I think, is probably around 30, and then that'll give you about 31,000 spy game points in that. So you need 60,000 fragments. So some of the math below is kind of searching for that number to get to the 30 orbs to open. That way you get 31,000 milestone points. That's why I've kind of like pointed that out here. So if you're farming heroic mode, you're going to have to do easy mode first, unless you paid for Nakia. So once you clear easy mode, you're going to automatically unlock Nakia, and then you can gear up for, you can jump right into heroic, actually, if you have your war dogs ready. So you can actually bypass hard mode if you have the war dogs ready to go. So when you clear for easy mode for the first time, you're going to get 2,950 fragments. That's just from all of the easy mode nodes. You can check that out on msf.gg. There is a bit of bonus there. That's designed because you're going to have 44 shards out of 45, and you need to open that one orb in order to finish unlocking Nakia. Now, if you start farming heroic after that, you're going to get about 7,050 fragments per day from heroic mode. Or sorry, skip what I just said. 7,050 fragments from clearing heroic for the first time. All 9 nodes. And then, because you also get the bonus, when you clear heroic mode, you also get the stuff that was on the hard mode. So you're getting essentially hard mode and heroic mode as long as you do heroic first, and you're collecting all of that stuff. And so those first 9 bonuses plus the node, it's 7,000 fragments. So I've added them all up together. That's about 10,000 fragments. That's about 5 orbs. So essentially what's missing is about 50,000 fragments, you know, coming from the numbers up here, the 30 orbs. So we still need 25 more orbs, and that's 50,000 fragments. Now, your daily heroic farm is going to be 6,300 fragments. That's going to be all 9 of the nodes. It's essentially 9 nodes times 700, because you're getting 700 fragments per node. And over 7 days, that's going to be 44,100, which is not quite the 50,000, right? That's 200 cores daily, all just in the campaign event. It's equivalent to about 27 orbs opened, and if that's all you want to do, though, you will still get about 26,000 milestone points. It's just not the 31,000 I mentioned above. In order to get there, you're going to need to spend closer to 400 cores daily. So this is going to be your heroic farm plus the last 2 hard modes every single day for 7 days, and that'll give you about 53,900 extra fragments, or pretty much 32 orbs opened, which will give you that 31,000 milestone points we talked about above. So you might be able to, I don't think you can get 350 cores, because really at that point it's a multiple of 100, right? You go from 200 to 300 to 400. So that's just how it is. Now, that's if you want to go that. If you want to just collect the 26,000 milestone points at 200 cores daily in the event campaign, you're welcome to do that. Now, I do want to talk very quickly about the hard mode. So if you're only able to do hard mode, which means you're using Nakia plus 4 other characters, you don't want to build war dogs, you don't have them built high enough or whatever. I don't have like a half and half, you know, scenario. So if you can only do 4 or 5 the heroic modes, you'll be somewhere in between my hard mode scenario and my heroic mode scenario. I didn't scenario every single possibility, but if you're only farming hard mode, you're going to get that 2,950 that I mentioned the first time from easy mode. You're going to get about 5,400 fragments a day. Now, over 7 days, it's 33,500, and that's not 5,400 times 7, just so people are aware. It's because some of the nodes have finite fragments. They'll actually run dry before 7 days. The early nodes, a couple of the early nodes actually run dry after 4 days, and then a couple of the other ones run dry after 5.5, 6 days. So hopefully what you can do, though, is if you have Black Panther 1M unlocked, you can at least farm the first heroic mode, and so that's what I've included in here, is that you should be able to at least compensate by also being able to do heroic node 1, and so that'll help compensate when things run dry. But overall, that's 33,500 fragments, and that's about 16-ish orbs. Now that's equivalent to about 12,000 spy game points, so you can see the difference, right? 12,000 spy game points over here for hard mode versus 26,000 or 31,000 if you can do heroic. So you're essentially getting twice as many milestone points if you're doing heroic mode than if you're doing hard mode. So basically, if you can't do heroic mode, you'll have to compensate in the other 2 ways, which are going to be either through power cores or through blitzing. Now, the blitzing numbers are not very good here for the sleeper agent milestone. 100,000 milestone points required for the clear it. 30,000 spy game points is what you get out of it. Here are the points for blitzing and with covert characters, you essentially need 1,667 Blitz wins overall. If you don't use your covert characters with your gear tier, which they are going to help, and they will lower the amount of rotations that you need total. But, you know, I don't know who has what or who has what gear tier and all that. So, you know, I'll leave that up to you. But if you don't include that, your maximum ceiling is going to be about 6.8 rotations daily. That's just not including the covert characters. So realistically, it's going to be less. I did some, you know, some rough estimations, and you're probably, if you have all the covert characters and you're using them all the time and you're winning with them, you're probably looking at 5 blitz rotations. If you have some of them in the gear 13, 15 range and you use them, you could bring that down to about 4.5. So expect that at the maximum you're looking at 7 rotations, but at the lower range you could be like 4.5 to 5 rotations. It's still a lot of blitzing. It's still a bit above average, but like I said before, you don't have to engage in you don't have to clear this event if you can do the other things. If you're farming in heroic mode on the campaign event, then you can reduce your blitz numbers. If you're spending more power cores, then you can reduce your blitz numbers as well. So I'm going to leave that all up to you to decide what you want to do. Just know that, you know, to get to the event item, you need to do a combination of the 3. It's going to be the event campaigns, it's going to be the blitzing, and it's going to be the spend power core part. And all of that kind of adds up to this grand total of 58,500 or 70,000 if you want the 5 red Black Panther, if that's an upgrade for you and you want to push a little bit more. So there's about a 40% wiggle room from the various milestones, you know, or like I said, if you're like me and you've hoarded a ton of power cores, you know, let's go back, right? I'm sitting on 16,000 power cores, and I find a way to use it. If Dark Beast, I was gonna say Black Beast, if Dark Beast comes out, then I will probably do that because I hate blitzing. So I would be more than happy to spend some power cores on Dark Beast release if that happens this week, and instead of having to actually do the blitzing because I hate it. We're gonna have Nakia's actual event math as far as the star ranks go and how you're going to get 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star tomorrow. So do check out that. That's basically the long form version of the campaign, the dead drop milestone, where I got those numbers from. So trust me, I have them. I'm 95% sure they're right, and we'll have more on that tomorrow. So good luck on spy games. Let me know in the comments down below what you're going to do. Are you going to be like me and spend some power cores, you know, because you hate blitzing? Are you going to be able to do hard mode or heroic campaign mode for Nakia? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. Of course, don't forget that the Claws of Fury requires collecting power cores. So I mentioned that if you can save your power cores, if you don't need to spend them all right now, save the inboxes starting Monday. That way you can hold that for the next week's or the 4th week's event, which we'll be covering later on as well. So that's it for now. Until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.